Do you think Prince Harry should be on that list, on that protected list?
Yes. So there you go, that's cutting straight to the chase. And I'm not supposed to talk about these things. They did it because they didn't think he would leave. There are plenty of people on the list who don't have a threat and risk profile that would automatically guarantee them armed protection. He was certainly one that did.
I've just had an interesting chat with Neil Basu, Britain's former head of counterterrorism. We were discussing Prince Harry's security issues, the decision not to give him security. Neil Basu used to sit on RAVEC, which is the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, which makes the decision about whether or not Prince Harry should have security. Here is the full interview. Firstly, I just wanted to start in kind of general terms. You obviously sat on RAVEC yourself for some time. You've got a lot of experience in counterterrorism and policing. And I just wanted to ask you if you might be able to talk us through kind of general feel of RAVEC meetings. I think they meet roughly 3 times a year, is that right? And I wonder how much sway the royal household really has in these meetings, whether if they had a quiet word in somebody's ear about what kind of level of protection they wanted a member of the royal family to have, that would very much be adhered to, or whether there is pushback and it is a bit more equal in terms of the discussion and the decisions made.
Well, it's good that you phrased it like that, because my understanding is the terms of reference were rewritten to make it absolutely clear that each member of the committee had equal responsibility and therefore equal capability of pushing back. So effectively, all of us...
You know what's really shocking? That it takes a man like Neil Basu, Britain's former head of counterterrorism, to publicly say what so many already know in private. Prince Harry should never have been stripped of his state protection. This isn't just another royal family debate. This is about justice, fairness, and the duty to protect a man who has served his country, who continues to face threats for simply choosing to live freely. Neil Basu didn't mince his words. He called Harry's removal from the protected list a mistake, one that's left the Duke of Sussex dangerously exposed. And for once, we're hearing this not from the tabloids, but from the very man who helped oversee royal and VIP security in the UK. As the former head of counterterrorism, Neil Basu's voice carries serious weight. He was part of RAVEC, the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, the body responsible for deciding who gets official protection. And during his tenure, he said Prince Harry ranked among the highest risk individuals in the entire royal hierarchy. In fact, his last full risk assessment in 2019 placed him second only to the late Queen herself. But here's where it gets disturbing that assessment has never been properly updated. Not once. Even as Harry's visibility, global profile, and the hate directed toward him online have skyrocketed. Basu made something very clear: threat and risk aren't measured by popularity or public opinion. They're determined by impact, and in his words, Harry was certainly one that did meet the full criteria for armed state protection. Yet somehow many individuals who remain on that protected list have lower risk profiles than Harry. So what changed? Not the threats, but the politics. Neil Basu's revelation reignites a troubling question. Why was Prince Harry, one of the most recognizable men in the world, treated differently? His military record, his humanitarian work, his outspokenness, these are all factors that made him a symbol of modern duty. But they also made him a target. He fought on the front lines in Afghanistan. He's been outspoken about racism, mental health, and media abuse. These issues have made him both a hero to some and a threat to those who thrive on control. And yet the system decided his protection wasn't worth maintaining. In a follow-up to his comments, Basu echoed what Harry has been saying for years. The decision to remove his security was politically driven. It wasn't about risk. It wasn't about resources. It was about power and perception. Basu confirmed that the late Queen and then Prince Charles never directly interfered in police matters. But other members of the royal household? They did, quietly, strategically, behind closed doors. This aligns with everything Harry and Meghan have hinted at, that there were forces within the institution more interested in punishing them than protecting them. Fast forward to 2023. Internal documents revealed by The Standard show that RAVEC, the same committee Basu once advised, made a chilling calculation. They prioritised minimising impact on state functions over public distress if Prince Harry were ever attacked. Let that sink in. According to those papers, they believed that harm to Harry would not significantly disturb the British public. It's hard to believe that anyone could write such a statement about a son of the late Queen, a war veteran, a father, and a humanitarian. But here's the twist. This position directly contradicted the late Queen Elizabeth's own wishes. According to The Independent, a letter written by her private secretary, Sir Edward Young, in January 2020, made her stance clear. She believed effective security for Harry and Meghan was imperative. She saw it as the Crown's duty of care, something that didn't vanish just because Harry moved abroad. She understood that family comes first, no matter geography or title. But after her passing, the tone inside the palace changed. Insiders now say King Charles's private secretary, Sir Clive Alderton, became a decisive voice in shaping the new, colder stance. Alderton's influence reportedly hardened the palace's approach, keeping the issue unresolved and effectively blocking any reconsideration of Harry's protection. For many observers, it paints a painful picture. A monarch guided not by compassion or paternal instinct, but by court politics and convenience. The contrast between Elizabeth II's empathy and the current leadership's detachment couldn't be clearer. The late Queen saw security as obligation. The new regime treats it as discretion. And that distinction, that moral gap, tells us everything about the changing values of the monarchy. Let's also remember, Prince Harry never demanded taxpayer-funded protection. He offered to personally fund it. But the Home Office rejected it, saying such an arrangement could set a dangerous precedent. And while that may sound reasonable on paper, Basu pointed out that the alternative is far worse. Because every time Harry visits the UK, local police forces have to divert their limited resources to provide temporary protection, an approach Basu called inefficient and costly. A proper, specialised security team, he argued, would actually be more efficient and safer for everyone involved. His words were blunt. Think of the cost of something happening to him. And that's the truth. This isn't just about one man's safety. It's about accountability. It's about a system that claims to protect its own, yet leaves one of its most threatened members vulnerable for political convenience. Neil Basu's words have laid bare the uncomfortable reality. This was never just a bureaucratic decision. It was a moral failure. A father who shields one son and exposes another. A palace that preaches service, yet tolerates harm. Prince Harry's life has always been under a microscope, from the trauma of losing his mother in front of the world to serving his country with courage. And now, the refusal to safeguard him feels like history repeating itself, another royal left to face the dangers that come with fame, without the shield of family. But this time, he's not a child. He's a man standing up for what's right, not just for himself, but for everyone who's been told they don't deserve protection because they dared to walk away. Neil Basu's warning is a wake-up call, not just to the palace, but to the nation. The threats against Harry haven't disappeared. Only the will to defend him has. And if Britain truly values integrity, service and decency, Then it's time to admit that stripping Harry's protection was wrong. He served his country. He earned his place. And he deserves to be safe not because of his title, but because he's human. Because no one, not even a prince, should have to fight for his right to live without fear.